It's a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Peekaboo! Villa in the lead!
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe and make sure to give this video the thumbs up. You can help me get to the road to 2K. I'm joined by my Monday show regular, Aaron Thornton, who's the host of the Football Brief, and I have Earl, who is AVFC Scout. This is the Champions League match preview. We'll be doing the pre-match talk show, PSG versus Aston Villa, Champions League quarter-final, first leg, in Paris at the Parc des Princes. Wednesday evening, it is an 8 p.m. kickoff. It's a great to have both of you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Chad. Pleasure to be here, and pleasure to meet you as well, Earl.
Yeah, it's good to be on. Good to meet you both as well. Really looking forward to the game.
It's great to have you on now. I just want to say, actually, it's the actually biggest game for Aston Villa, probably since 1982. That was the last time in the Champions League quarter-final. And we went on to win the whole competition.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. There's going to be Emery or anything's possible, I think. I do know it's PSG. But I just think with the team we've got at the moment, especially, I think we can beat anybody at our best.
Mate, I agree with you, Chad. I think, isn't it lovely to say? I feel like every sort of season we're saying this is the biggest game of Aston Villa's recent history. You know, this is the biggest game, and I think it's testament to Emery and to the board as well for for this whole operation that they've got going on, which we're starting to see the results now on the pitch as well as off the pitch. And I think these last 7 games in the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League, now they're all massive, like you say. And I think the fact that there's potentially silverware at the end of a couple of these roads is it's exciting, and just to be a part of it as a Villa fan after recent history is just great. So I'm with you, Chad. I think under Emery, anything's possible.
Just because we have some very good momentum going into the running now, as well as all the fixtures we've got coming up. I just want to enjoy the ride as a Villa fan.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy the ride, haven't you? There's something to play for still in every competition. So yeah, it's good times to be a villain.
And with Emery as well. He has so many options with a fully fit squad. I think now with each game, he can attack it how he wants to attack each game differently.
Yeah, and I think we started to see that in the Forest game. I think there was a lot of surprise faces when that starting lineup was announced. I was one of them. Look, I back Emery and I back his judgment, but there was definitely players there that I thought, oh, okay, like we'll see how we get on. Forest are fairly formidable at the minute, but he was proven right. And even in the second half when things were starting to look a bit dicey, he was able to ring those changes and sort of use the reinforcements on the bench to help just see it through. So I think you make a really good point, Chad. I think the squad depth now is it's something that we've not had all season, and it was something that I think at the start of the season we were like licking our lips with, because we were like, well, with this squad that we've got now, we can really try and compete on all fronts. But with the injuries and things like that, it's not happened. So it's sort of happened now at the right time, and with the momentum that we've got, like, it couldn't have happened at a better time, I don't think. So we just got to keep it going.
Yeah, and in these two quarterfinals, Aston Villa just need to give their everything. Because really, it's like the game of their lives. I think in that first leg, I think it's important to get through that first leg.
Yeah, I mean it's the Champions League, isn't it? Anything can happen over two legs, so you really do have to view it as two legs. It's only half time after that first game, so you got to be in the best possible position, and then once we bring it back to Villa Park, we know how good we are at home. So
I don't know Emery as well. He's managed PSG already. And in a sense, is a lone player. So we've already got a bit of intel from PSG.
Yeah, hopefully all stand us in good stead. And we've seen before Emery's done all right against his previous team. So hopefully that's a good omen for us as well.
But I would like as well, like if we say we got through to semi-final, because it's obviously Real Madrid Arsenal. Imagine we got Real Madrid, look at Villa Park, and obviously you got Jude Bellingham, obviously former Blues player.
Oh yeah.
That would be the fixture that I want.
Yeah, that's definitely the glamour tie.
Yeah, definitely is.
And it's why we're in the competition, isn't it? Sorry, Chad. We want these big games, the PSGs, the Madrids. That's what we, as Villa fans, we were dreaming of. So, it's a bit of a.
The thing is, the big games. That's what Emery lives for.
Yeah.
We want to be playing the best teams.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Forest game then. That was an absolutely huge win. So Aaron, what did you make of the Forest game?
I mean, firstly, I was just buzzing with the win. I felt that it sort of epitomized our season at the minute. I think it was very much a game of two halves, wasn't it? And I think that's sort of how the season's gone a lot of the time with our games. I think like either the first half's not so great, the second half's amazing, or vice versa. And it was sort of that again. But Villa of old, we would have conceded in the last minute and it would have been a draw. So to see it through, and again, such a good team like Forest, and they're on an amazing run, and I'm really happy for Forest. I think it's great for the league that they're doing so well. It was always going to be a tough game, and I was just really, really happy. I think the start that we had was just insane, and it's something that we haven't seen enough of this season. I think last season we used to do that quite a lot. We used to hit teams in the first 15-20. It was like bam, bam, bam. So it's good to see that again. And like you just touched on with the squad depth, I think seeing, the likes of Marlon start.
You got Plants already, you got Onana,
Martson. I think it just shows that, I know we're talking about the Forest game, but looking at the PSG game as well, our front line is frightening, really. When you think about it, we've got an embarrassment of riches in that front line. And the fact that they're now all scoring is again, it's about timing, isn't it? And I think that I don't know Marlon can't play, but
good stage of the season.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just really happy with the win. And at this point with these last few games, I don't care so much how obviously I want us to play well, but I think the most important thing is getting the points on the board, especially taking the points off teams around us. So I think as long as we get those 3 points, I'm not too bothered how it goes. So yeah, very happy. How about you?
What I was about to say as well, not to add that, I thought it was a vital 3 points. And it still keeps us in the hunt for Champions League football next season. Because the thing is, I did see the Premier League table. We're currently 6th place on 51 points. So we're really putting the pressure on the likes of Man City, the likes of Chelsea. And I did see the fixtures we got in the Premier League. We have got some winnable fixtures coming up.
Yeah, I think we were the winners this weekend as well. I think results went our way. I think, the likes of City, Chelsea drawing, Bournemouth drawing. I think Newcastle play tonight, Brighton drop points. So the only surprise was Fulham, obviously. But I think, the table's looking we're backing in amongst it now, so we just want to sort of stay around there and just do our thing quietly and not make too much noise.
I don't think with 5th place, I think it's definitely still possible. And as well, we're fighting on 3 fronts still.
I think just a bit of consistency of. There's a lot of teams all in around the same area. I think whoever's the most kind of consistent is probably gonna win out and get the Champions League spots.
Yeah, because definitely it's going to definitely come down to 5th, I think now. And also, I'm not speaking about not the actual game. No, you think we beat a team at a 3rd place? I thought in the first half we completely blew away Forest.
Yeah, I think we can take a lot from that game into PSG. I think it tells a good story of. I mean, in every game, I think you're going to get opportunities. There's going to be periods of the game, where you're on top, and the periods of the game where the other team's on top. But I think what we did very well, especially at the start of the game, is when we were on top of the game, we took our chances and we scored a couple of goals, and that's absolutely crucial. If you're on top of the game and you don't actually convert your chances, it doesn't mean anything, does it? It's goals win games, obviously. So yeah, we got those couple of goals, and Forest had their period, which they were always going to have, a period of the game when they were on top. But I thought we started and finished the game well, which ultimately got us the 3 points.
Because in the second half it was tense, but we got through it. We kept calm, and we didn't panic.
Yeah, no, and I think I've seen a few interviews recently of players like post match and Emery as well. Like the mentality that I think he's instilled in them, especially with these last 2 months to go. Like, I think the resilience is there now. I think he really has sort of made the point that these next few weeks are crucial if we want to qualify for Champions League again. And, there's going to be moments in games where, the game plan might go slightly awry, or, the opposition team is going to be on top, but we have to keep that belief. We have to keep that mentality. And I think there just seems to be a really strong unity amongst the players, which I do find that's always there. But these last sort of weeks, I think Unai Emery's really, really made the point. I mean, he came out after the game saying he was really annoyed. I mean, you wouldn't have known that we won when you listen to him. He's sort of is a bit fuming, isn't he, about the second half? Which, to be fair, that's what you want because it's not. He's got to keep them on. He's got to try and keep these players on task. So, I agree with you, Chad. I think the second half we managed to sort of ride that wave and just see it through.
My Emery, such an elite manager. And also, I'm not the way now, the last few weeks now, that we've been using a lot of squad rotation because I think Emery knows with all the games coming up. But I just completely trust Emery, everything he does.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, he's from where he picked us up to now, like you wouldn't have dreamt it. Like it's pretty wild actually how quickly it's happened, and a lot of that is down to him. So I trust him as well.
It's like last season, like last year. You told me that Aston Villa were going to be in the quarterfinal against PSG. I wouldn't have laughed at you.
With the likes of Rashford, Asensio in your squad, like, wait, what? Yeah.
Well, also, I think we played some lovely football against Forest. In the possession, and I like the attacking play, and also Morgan Rogers. It's an always cool finish by Rogers. And what a wonderful ball by Yuri Tielemans. As well, and obviously Donyell Marden. He's getting on the score sheet again.
Yeah, it was good to see all around. I think there was 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performances, all over the pitch, which was great. And like we were saying before, with 8 changes in the side as well. They're all good players coming in, but with 8 changes, there can always be a bit of unsettling, and who's match sharp and that sort of thing. But everyone came in and right from kickoff was at it, so that was really positive to see.
And what I like about what we play, is the intensity.
Yeah.
And also with Ian Matson, there's a good Dutch combination with him and Marlon.
I was really happy for Marlon. I think with everything going on with his disappointment of not being in the Champions League squad, and I think you saw it after the Brighton game. They gave him the players are pushing him to the fans at the end, so he got that sort of standing ovation. And like again about the unity and just players understanding. I think a lot of credit again to Emery for clearly putting an arm around Marlon, and I don't think he wanted to have left him out. I think obviously with Rashford and Asensio becoming available in January, I don't know if that was expected. So I don't think it was always the plan for him to be excluded. So I think for him especially, I was very, very happy. And just going back to what Earl said about, the 8 changes, and can always knock the fluidity of the team, can't it, when you make so many changes? But what I'm loving at the minute is that every player, whether you're on the bench or whether you're starting, seems to know their roles now. So like Onana came in for Kamara and just did what he was meant to do. And it's like
Onana, I think we really missed his physicality, Onana.
Yeah, he was good. I thought he was good.
Good game,
yeah.
He's sort of like that sort of Yaya Toure sort of player. The way he just gets the team further at the pitch, drives the team forward.
I think he can be. Yeah, I think it's something. When we signed him, something that I wanted to see a lot more from him was that when he gets the ball, he wins the ball back, just driving up the pitch with them long Yaya Toure-esque strides, and we saw a bit of that against Forest, didn't we? I think. So I'm guilty of this myself, but you kind of forget because he's been around for quite a long time. Onana with Lille and then at Everton as well. He's still quite young. He's still got quite a lot of growth and potential in him. So yeah, I think he's coming on quite a lot already. His reading of the game, understanding. I thought positionally he was very good against Forest as well, especially right at the start of the game. Forest couldn't get out under the Villa pressure, and a lot of the time it was whenever they were trying to get out, Onana was in the perfect position, won the ball back, and then we go again attacking them. So yeah, big props to Onana as well.
Yeah, because I think him and Ian Matson played really well. And Ian Matson, he was constantly getting forward. He got like an assist as well.
You did.
It's nice. That's why I think I like it that Emery's freshed up the squad, and it's needed. The fixtures come thick and fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it shows as well, like especially with Emery. You look at like Tielemans, Rodgers. Rodgers might be a bit of a rare case. Matson, Marlon. These players, Onana, prime example. These players don't always come straight in, and a lot of the time he does want them to sort of sit and watch the game from the side to understand how he wants them to play in his system. And I think what you were saying then, like Onana, you look at the start of the season to now, like positionally he seems a lot more aware of where he should be and what he needs to be doing. And I do love that about Emery. I think he's a real, like, when players come and sign, I remember Onana saying in his interview, like, I want to take my game to the next level, and like Emery can unlock this in me. And look at Tielemans for me, who's been our player of the season by quite a long shot, really. But Rodgers has been good, but for me, Tielemans has been the most consistent. And I think I've seen a side to Tielemans' game that I never knew he had, and I think Emery's unlocked that within him. And it's taken time, but now he's become this like much more rounded player. And I think Onana will get there as well, and Martin coming through. It's just really good to see like proper coaching. Do you know what I mean?
Villa's at the Villa as well. I really enjoyed sort of watching such a strong bench we've got. I think it's amazing to see. To think that you've got like the likes of, like, say, Rashford and McGinn on the bench. as well. We got some real good options.
Yeah,
And
and
I
it's,
think
it's that
we could put
experience that's. Sorry, Chad, go on.
we could put out a good second team as well.
Yeah, it's just the names on the bench is it's unbelievable, and yeah, it's really going to lend itself to hopefully the Champions League game, because these players now have got the platform and the stage to really put themselves out there, and the club out there as well. So I think we've got the depth, we've got the rotations. I think everyone will have that chance now to do it on the biggest stage of all in the Champions League.
So, what do you expect from the PSG game on Wednesday?
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a bit of a cauldron, I think, away in Paris. They've got a strong ultras section and fan scene and all that kind of thing. So expecting an amazing atmosphere. But we've dealt with these kind of things before in the Conference League, like Legia Warsaw away.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that kind of intense atmosphere. But I think the experience that we've had, the experienced players that we've brought into the dressing room as well, I think we'll be up for it. I mean, if you can't get up for a Champions League night away in Paris, then what can you get up for? So yeah, I'm expecting intensity, expecting a tough game, and yeah, hopefully we can get a result.
Do you think of PSG? Do the elite European football teams? Good it's for them. They want to win the Champions League, and they've never done it before. Because I compare them a little bit to sort of like the French sort of Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, you could say that, and they've obviously done very well in domestic league. I think have they won League 1 already?
They've won it, with
Yeah.
6 games to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a good record. So it just shows you what sort of team you're up against. I just think as well that they've got a real dangerous attack. I think we need to fully focus Aston Villa for the whole 90 minutes. We can't forfeit any mistakes.
Yeah, against a top side like that, you get punished, don't they, if you make mistakes? So it's gonna take, like you say, 90 minutes concentration. Whoever comes off the bench as well has got to be, right into the game and that sort of thing. So I think they will be. Like I say, if you can't get up for this, then what can you?
Because I think, Liverpool, I think they have more pressure on them against PSG, but with a team like Aston Villa, I don't think there's as much pressure on us to sort of get a result, if you know what I mean.
I agree with you, Chad. I think it plays into our hands quite nicely because, I mean, firstly, PSG are going to be bang up for it because, like, their fans, their the team and all of that, they'll see this as a real opportunity. And that's no disrespect to Villa, of course, but I think in their minds, they're going to think, well, on paper, realistically, we should beat Villa. However, it's not that simple, is it? And they're sort of riding the crest of a wave at the minute. They've just won League with 6 games to spare. I think they're in a bit of a tournament right now. And like you said, Chad, they've not won the Champions League yet, so they'll really see this as an opportunity. So I think they're going to make it hostile. They're going to make it tough. But these are the games, these are the moments in which Emery is known for, and we've seen every side to Emery. We know what Emery's about, but this is something new for us and him. So I'm very excited to see how he sort of sets the team up and how they make. I've seen like a bit of a different side to Emery. I feel like seemed to come back from this like mini pre-season. I mean, he's always focused, but I feel like this game's always been the one. Do you know what I mean? He'll never come out and say like I'm focusing on PSG because it's always the next game, isn't it? But I do feel that he's probably got a bit of a point to prove. And I just think, I can imagine he's like his dossier of PSG is like that thick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's just gone mad with the tactics. But yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. It's going to be very, very tough. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing how we set up.
Well, yeah, it's sort of going to be like a hostile atmosphere. The good thing with Emery and Villa is last season we had a good experience in the Conference League.
Yeah.
Look, for example, look at those games that like what Earl mentioned about League Warsaw. Also, that Olympiacos game.
Yeah.
I don't think
Real.
Aston Villa have learned a lot from that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it goes without saying the Champions League is a couple steps above the Conference League, but that experience is so valuable. I think. Yeah, I mean, we've worked our way up to this. I feel like, and the standard on the pitch will be different, but yeah, that atmosphere, even watching it on TV, that we saw in Warsaw, you're not going to get anything. Worse than that. Do you know what I mean? So we've been there. We've got players like Emi Martinez, and the reception that he's going to get in Paris as well. But
yeah, because he's coming to Argentina.
Isn't it now? Yeah,
He didn't do that penalty shootout against France, so he's not going to be very popular.
not at all. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. Well, I think Dembele could cause a lot of problems. And Alex Dembele. They've got like Vitinha. And even they've got some good experience in defence as well. Can't remember his name, but that centre back.
Hakimi or Marquinhos.
Marquinhos, that's it, yeah.
I don't think he can play the first. I don't think he can play the first leg. Marquinhos, I think he's suspended. I think.
That's good news.
But he did. I did see a quote from him, to be fair, which sort of shows where PSG are at the minute. He said PSG's ambition is to win everything, and like they're still with a shout for like 4 trophies. I think they've just beat Monaco in the French Super Cup, Champions League. They've won the title, and I think they're in the other domestic cup in their league. And I just think that's a really interesting quote from him, because I think it sort of shows the mentality shift from the superstars that were once there. Not that they didn't want to win things, but there seems to be a real. I think Luis Enrique has really galvanized that squad now, and they seem to be a lot more on song than they were before. So I think, they're going to see this as a chance, to win four trophies. So I think they're really going to be a tough opponent.
That Vitinha is probably my favourite. So then he's a quality player.
Yeah. He was at Wolves, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think, what was it?
Was he at Wolves for a time? Have I made that up?
Do you want to think of it? No, I don't think it was it?
Oh, right. I thought one of them had been at Wolves at some point. I made that up.
But the big thing is, though, we don't want to concede. Look, I think if we could keep, like we said earlier, keeping the tie. I think, actually, if you could get a draw, I'm probably going to be happy with that in the first leg, get a draw.
Yeah, I think like I mentioned before, if we can get back to Villa Park in as best a position as we can, then anything can happen, because it's just how good we are at home. But I think our away form has been picked up of late as well. So go there and get something, hopefully.
Well, I'm going to get some stats on the screen, because let's show PSG's front three, their goals in Champions League and Ligue 1. So here's the stats here. So what do you make of PSG's current front three? Oh, what do you make of that stat on the screen?
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky front three to deal with. Just because they don't really have that recognised striker, I guess. They've kind of got those three they're all kind of wingers, attacking midfielders, or drift in and out. So as a defender, you're never sure whether to go with them when they come short or if they're going to run behind. So yeah, it's a really interesting front three. Dembele obviously being that the main goal threat for them this season, and 7 assists, several assists as well. And then Barcola, he's another player, young player who's he's got that. We were talking before about the superstars, your Messis and Neymars of the world, whereas you bring in like Barcola from Lyon, he's got a bit more youth and hunger than those kind of players maybe. And I think that showed. Having that kind of French core as well as young players has helped them a lot. And then the January signing of Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, he's obviously a really exciting player. Loves to dribble and take on his opposing fullback 1-versus-1. So we just got to be aware of where all three of them are at one time. It's going to be very important. Whoever's in defensive midfield for us as well, like Kamara or Onana, whoever we go with.
You've got those foyers, that's it. Got to put out those foyers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to take a team effort defending against the quality of Paris Saint-Germain.
Because we've got an awful lot of explosive pace as well, with the 1v1 situations. What do you make of that, Aaron? About their front three PSGs?
Yeah, it's frightening. I know Dembele, I think in all comps has got 32 in 40. You've also got the guy, is it Doué as well? They've got another lad who's a forward I think he's got some good assists and goal involvement as well. Yeah, I mean, Earl's pretty much said it. It's going to be, I think, a team effort defensive. I think it's going to be a lot of off the ball work, and like you said, Chad, trying to stop those channels. Do you think he'll go for a double pivot with Kamara and Onana, or do you think he'll just have the one?
That's a good question. I mean, potentially he could go with that. It gives us a bit more in defense, defensive for the defense.
Yeah,
shield the back four.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably know more. I just don't know. I know obviously Tielemans has got to be in there as well. So I mean, you'd probably have to sacrifice a forward if we did that. But I don't know. I do think it's going to be a much more defensive setup.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll definitely see it at some point. Probably in the away leg is likely. Whether he starts that way or we see it at some point during the match. But I think it's definitely an option that we have, and that's the benefit of having the squad depth that we have. We've got these options. We can adjust to different teams. We can adjust to different scenarios, different things that happen in the game. So we're talking about the unpredictability of how PSG can be, but also we've got that element of
We can hurt them. That's it. We can hurt them as well.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we should. I mean, we can also we can present the side. It's like to Asensio, Watkins, Rashford. That they can all do damage.
It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, the attacking force that's going to be on show from both teams is mouthwatering. And look, this is what we want to see as Villa fans. Like we've all sort of touched on at the start of the show. We're happy to be here and we just want to enjoy it. And the fact that we're talking about PSG's front line and how they're going to set up against Villa is just it's amazing, really. So I think seeing those names there, look, they've got good numbers. I'm excited to see them, but we equally have, a forward line which could do damage if they're all on point. So, I'm very intrigued by this one. I'm very intrigued just to see how Emery sets up.
Well, I'll bring another graphic on the screen. Both teams going into this game are in very good form. as you can see on this graphic.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real spectacle, this game. What do you make of their current form, both teams?
Yeah, well, it's I think momentum and belief, massive key for the psychology of a footballer. I can talk for days about stats and tactics and all these kind of things, but this kind of momentum when you're on a winning run, it means a lot. So I mean, both teams, you see a lot of green there from both sides. So it seems like run a collision course, and hopefully we can continue that momentum, that positivity.
I'm just excited now to see what the outcome's going to bring at the end of the season, because I think every game now we're going to treat it like a cup final.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Then win
well.
the FA Cup. Then win the FA Cup.
That's well said, Chad. Well, we've got a good chance to. I don't want to put Palace out because they're a very good side and we haven't beat them this season, so that's going to be a tough test. But we can beat Palace. If we beat Palace, if we get City or is it Forest they're playing?
Yeah.
If we get either one of those, we've beat both of those this season, so we can it's plausible that we can win the FA Cup. It's very much there. It's just about the momentum, injuries, and just sort of keeping with that mentality that I think we just got to lock in now. Which would seem this week's been crazy with Preston, Brighton, Forest. We've gone about our job professionally, beat all three of them, which then none of them were easy.
Yeah.
And we're doing it. We're starting to see it. So if we just keep doing that and take each game at a time, as cliche as it sounds, it's I think under Emery, it's just the perfect concoction, really. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because both teams are on in a good vein of form. Watch it be a 0-0 now.
I'd take a 0-0, honestly.
I'd take him
all day long.
I think the momentum it also helps us in the Premier League. We can use the Champions League and FA Cup as a way to get a run going in the Premier League as well. So I think it's all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Aaron, let's talk about the PSG manager.
Yep.
Luis Enrique. So what do you make of him, Luis Enrique?
Well, he's one of the elite managers, isn't he? His CV sort of speaks for itself. I'm very impressed with the way. I think looking at the PSG team and how touched on it earlier, how they were, a couple of seasons ago with these superstars, and I don't know, the mentality just seemed a bit different there, and I think there's a lot of focus on those players, whereas now they seem to be a lot more of a galvanized, sort of harmonious group that they're actually set their sights on winning multiple silverware, and I think a lot of that is down to Luis Enrique and his management of players. I heard him speak in the press conference earlier about this upcoming game, and a very respectful guy. I think very respectful of Villa. He's no mug. As much as I was saying, I think in their minds they're going to think, yeah, it's Villa, a great opportunity. I don't think he'll see that, but he's also very. I don't think he'll be complacent. I think he'll set up and he'll go about the game properly. Similar to Unai, I think, in terms of just how he sort of sets up and how he's very meticulous in terms of his planning for a game. So I'm very intrigued to see how they face off against each other. But Luis Enrique looked like it's he's one of the best, with the teams that he's had over the years. So it's going to be very, very cool to see him at Villa Park and just see how he sets up and stuff. So very impressed.
He's one of those elite coaches. We're looking at he's up there in the likes of Emery, Guardiola, the Ancelottis of this world.
Yeah, he's a Champions League winner, isn't he? So, you've won the Champions League, you kind of cement your status, don't you? Forever, no one can ever take that away from you. So yeah, he's a top manager, and I'd echo what Aaron said as well. I mean, there's a lot of respect for Villa and Emery in what I've seen from him in interviews and press conferences, etc. So yeah, I think from the manager's perspective, he'll definitely take us very, very seriously. I know we were speaking before about maybe some of the fans might not, but yeah, I think from the managerial perspective, he will have watched a lot of Villa. He will have got a lot of respect for us and will have planned, just like Emery.
Well, he's had 2 spells with Barcelona. He's actually been the coach on the Spanish national team as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it speaks for itself, his CV.
Yeah, he's got good experience. He's I think what I like as well, he's obviously managed superstars, and look, in PSG they've still got superstars, don't get me wrong, but I do like how he's sort of got players in there that are good, and he's turned them great. Do you know what I mean? Like he can work with multiple sort of players, which is again another similarity to Unai in that respect. But yeah, he's a great coach, and like you said, Chad, one of the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. To be fair,
I think he's really been able to put his own stamp on this PSG team.
Yeah.
Probably like one of the few teams that he's had that he's fully been able to like we're talking about all these superstars and that sort of thing, whereas now he's got this kind of young, hungry team. He's got the experience in there as well. We talked about Marquinhos, and others as well. But yeah, I think this has been a really good job for him, because he's got the quality players, he's got the the money to spend that Paris have, but at the same time, I think he's really been able to put his own identity on this team.
Yeah.
Also, look, his style of play as well. Because actually, you watch, it's a bit similar to Emery, the way they build up from the back.
Yeah.
They're not quick transitions as well.
Yeah, I think they have been quite similar to Villa, and maybe what Villa want to be. The style of play, the build up. We talked before about they've got a lot of dribblers that very good in transition and these sorts of things, which are kind of factors that you can see Emery's been adding into this Villa side with. We've got like the likes of Ramsey, who we had already, obviously, but Rodgers, powerful dribbling, and Rashford as well. Marlon, who obviously unfortunately can't play in the Champions League, but yeah, I think there are definitely similarities between two sides, so it could be quite an interesting game.
I'm so glad we got Paul Torres back. We really missed his long range passing. Do you look at Paul Torres as a key part of Aston Villa's build-up play, Torres?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Paul Torres was brilliant against Forest, so it's good to see him. Good to see him back, and yeah, it'd be a tough decision who gets that starting spot between him and Mings, because Mings has been solid, hasn't he? We've been defending well. We've had the clean sheets recently, which we've been lacking throughout the season, and then Pau Torres comes back and puts in an excellent performance as well. So yeah, good headache to have, but maybe there's a question on selection there.
Yeah. Just Concert and Torres, they got a good partnership. We saw that was that sort of 9 partnership that we saw last season. So it's going to be a difficult decision for Emery.
Yeah. Go on,
Sorry, go on, Aaron.
No, go, man.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think Conser is another player as well. He's come on leaps and bounds under Emery as well. He's, Villa fans have always known, what a class defender he's been, but especially, like on the ball and his calmness and breaking into the England squad as well. I think could see him become an England regular. But yeah, he's one of the first names on the team sheet now as we consider, isn't he?
Just looking at them at PSG again. So I was reading the other day that in the French league, in Ligue 1, they actually don't have any PSR rules. So I'm asking this question, Aaron. So with PSG not having PSR rules, is it an unfair advantage to some other teams in Europe?
I mean, yeah, I guess it is. But then you flip it and think, well, they've still not had success in Europe, so it's not been that much of an issue at the minute. But yeah, I'm conflicted with PSR in general. Like I do want governance over the finances, especially when it comes to your teams like your Man Cities, your Newcastles, and PSGs, because Villa to an extent. I know we've got our owners aren't short of a few bob, so I mean, it is good to have that governance, but it's a harsh reality that I'm getting used to, that we're getting used to. I think you asked me a really good question last episode, Chad, about would you sell Ollie Watkins if it meant that we could get Rashford and Asensio, and I was like, well, it's a good point, because now realistically every player has a price. Like if a right offer comes in for any player in our squad, no one's sort of untouchable, really. Yeah. Whereas before it was like, oh, well, we're going to say no. But it's like, I'm already reading reports that we might be selling stakes in the women's team because to try and bankroll funds for PSR. I mean, I think Chelsea have just been done for that. So I don't know if that's legitimate or what for Villa.
But you got Watkins, there's been rumours about obviously him leaving.
Yeah. So I don't answer to your question is, I guess if you're looking at it black and white, I mean, yeah, it is unfair, but Europe's not really aligned with PSR. I don't know too much on it, but I know that UEFA also have their own set of guidelines financially as well. So I don't know if that comes into play for PSG. But I don't know. There's a lot I could probably go in on with sort of the PSR and the UEFA rules, and I don't want to take over. But and see, your question is yes, but PSG still haven't won anything in Europe yet. So it's one of them, isn't it?
It's one thing. It's good to stopping overspending.
For sure.
That's what ruins football a bit as well.
Yeah, because money's getting stupid now. It's no longer a millionaire's playground; it's a billionaire's playground, isn't it? The amounts of money that are coming in, and especially with the Middle Eastern money now, it was always going to get to a point where it's going to get silly, and I think we're at that point now where it's pretty silly. So there does need to be a cap on things, but I guess UEFA then it's in how you align the leagues. Obviously, the Premier League are doing their own thing, but then it's how that then aligns with the rest of the world. Obviously, the Premier League is the most lucrative league out there, so we do need the governance. Whereas apart from PSG, I don't think the money's as crazy. So it's always going to be a bit of a mismatch between the leagues, I guess. We're a bit unique in that sense as a Premier League.
I don't know the thoughts on as well, what teams sort of buoyant success. Because even though the likes of Man City and Real Madrid, a lot of these clubs as well are in debt. So I think you're gonna weigh up.
I think that's a positive about Villa for me. I mean, I don't want to speak too much about finances because I'm not an expert, but I think from a financial perspective, it's good to see from Villa that there is silly money in the game, but like you say, you can mention other teams. Man United springs to mind as well, where you've got owners maybe taking money out of the club, but yeah, there's a lot of money in the game, but Villa seem to be spending it on making the team better, making the club better. So
infrastructure,
So it's not going to waste. At least we are seeing the product getting better, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Aston Villa are a very sustainable football club. But financially, we are very sustainable.
Yeah.
And at least as well, I like it that if all teams can compete, as long as it's fair, I sort of don't mind, as long as it's fair.
I think that's what that's probably what the new format's done to sort of combat that. Like in the Champions League, it's I think we really benefited from the format as so did other teams. So like you saw a lot of your big money players not reaching the top 8. So like these sort of one-off games in isolation are quite good. So there is that as well, which sort of helps, I guess. But yeah, I agree with the points you both make about the Villa. I think we're in good hands financially, and I never worry about us breaching PSR. It's well known that we sort of, I think we're quite good at sort of like towing the line, but we sort of exhaust it to what we can, and then we'll sort of sell players. You notice we get a lot of these young players in, and we sort of like you look at the likes of Cameron Archer, Philogene, Nedeljkovic, these sort of players, and the clauses that we insert is, I think we sort of protect ourselves in that respect, which is smart. You've got to be smart in this new financial world that we find ourselves in, and I think Villa, the hierarchy, do a good job with that. So I don't fear it. So it's in that respect, it's good.
So Aaron, I want you to describe like the Champions League journey. So as an Aston Villa fan, how would you describe the Champions League journey?
Oh mate,
It's
there's obviously I'm over here in New York, so I've not been able to go to a game, but having the coverage over on the TV, doing this with you, and watching content from afar, it really has really kept me sort of in touch with it all, and just seeing the fan base just giddy every week, and seeing Villa up there, like just seeing the badge up there with the likes of your Bayern Munich, your PSGs. The biggest thing as well, Chad, and I'm going to thank you for this, is being on here and meeting so many wonderful people from different podcasts. And we've spoken to people from I remember the RB Leipzig and Celtic and Juventus, and Club Brugge. Like meeting people through you has been immense. So thank you, and it's sort of added to the journey, just understanding and learning more about teams and their fans and different cultures. So from been a Villa fan all my life, and obviously the recent years haven't been great, but we stuck by them in the Championship, and now to see them in the Champions League is something that I wasn't sure I'd see in my lifetime at one point. So over the moon, mate. So yeah, the journey's been unique.
With that as well, with Champions League, we're back where we belong. It's not that sleeping giants been awoken.
Yeah.
It's not that saying that Ron Saunders said, "You would have bet against us," because I wouldn't.
True statement, man. True statement, especially currently with this manager and this team. I really wouldn't. So yeah. How about you boys with the journey? Obviously we've all got our unique perspectives, but how's it been for you?
I've just been trying to like live in the moment, I guess, and just drink it all in. I was lucky enough to be able to go to the Bayern Munich game.
Wow. Oh yeah, which one? The Villa Park, Villa Park, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there as well. Yeah, well, what a night that was.
I think that was probably the best, my best experience at Villa Park that I've had. It was just unbelievable. So yeah, I was so glad I was lucky enough to get to that game, because not everyone can. But yeah, like I say, just been trying to just drink it all in, and yeah, been loving every minute of it.
We've played against some great teams as well, and we've beaten these teams really well. I mean, it's not Bayern Munich. We've beaten Scotland when it was back in 1980. We did it again. But that game, it was a complete every masterclass. Obviously, that special John Duran goal.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I will remember him for that. We had some special nights. You can't beat a Champions League atmosphere. It's just special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, I have to. I've not been there, and fortunately, the broadcast over here like do a really good job of sort of. Obviously, it's not the same thing as being there, but like seeing the atmosphere, and then you seeing the tweets afterwards, or X's, whatever you want to call it, and like it just the atmosphere just looks electric. And I know I spoke to you after the Bayern Munich game, Chad, and you were just saying it was just insane, and like just to have Villa against these teams, and look, PSG, it will be what it will be, and we know it's going to be a tough game. We're not under any illusion it's
Well,
going
it's
to
a
be
great
tough.
achievement. I think we got this far. It's a great achievement.
Exactly. Just to be here with battling against these teams. This is what the Champions League's about. This is what the players want. Like it's just you have to just take each moment, because we don't know when this will happen again. So it's really, really hard to you want to analyze and you want to talk about right how we're going to do this, but then it's like you want to enjoy the moment as well and think let's just see what happens, because it's just so unique. But incredible, mate, incredible. Thank you, Unai.
Yeah. If it wasn't him, it wouldn't be possible. It's because of Earl Emery.
Genuinely.
I think I never dreamt that it was ever possible. And the Champions League looks at Villa Park. That's why hopefully we do it again next season. Like we get Champions League football again.
That's the thing. You got the taste now. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, we're like, oh, we had one-off season. It's great. We'll enjoy it. But now we're in it and we're doing so well. And now in the league, we're in touching distance. It's like, ooh, I want this again now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, consistency.
Just look at Emery. Like, we could have quite easily just gone through straight to the playoffs and Emery going on that team. But Emery says, no, we want to go as far as we can in this competition. We're not just a flash in the pan.
No.
So yeah, as a Villa fan, it's just a great time to be a Villa fan. And still, though, Emery's not even through his project yet. I mean, it took him 2 years. I was in the Champions League. We thought, we was expecting it was going to take a lot longer. And here we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, it happened. I mean, the conference is one thing, and that was, I remember that sort of running at the end of the season, and the Brighton and Newcastle games where we beat them, and it was electric, and we got into the conference, and again, like you both touched on, that now having that experience last season in the conference, just traveling and with the fan bases and different stadiums and the atmospheres, it's worth its weight in gold in just sort of being sort of ready for the Champions League. And we skipped out the Europa League. We all thought naturally, okay, we'll maybe get Europa next season. But then when we got the Champions League, it was like, whoa, okay. Didn't expect it. And I think that was what was so beautiful about it. It caught us off guard, and the fact we've given it a real good go as well is, I think the format's helped us in that respect. But I think we still had to beat teams like Bayern and Celtic and Juventus, and it's given fans just an amazing night. No one can take. You've both been to Bayern Munich at Villa Park in a Champions League game, and no one can take that away from you.
Just every single Champions League game, I've been collecting all the half scarves.
Oh, nice. Have to put them up in your room, mate.
PSG to collection, hopefully Real Madrid to the collection.
That'd be the dream, wouldn't it? The Real Madrid.
So, Earl, I'm going to ask you one more question before we go. So, PSG. Look, as I know you've been doing a few lot of stats and stuff. So, how do they typically set up?
Yeah, so they're typically set up in a 4-3-3, and it looked like a 4-3-3 on paper, but they all shift around like we mentioned before. So the midfield three can all kind of play all midfield positions, and then the front three can all play all the front positions as well. Hakimi, the right back, is very attacking, so he'll like to get forward. Like we were saying before, similar to Villa, where we have the left back who'll get forward and be attacking almost like a left winger. It's like that for PSG, but I guess on the other side, on the right with Hakimi. So you'll see at times they'll have like the like a back three, might be the left back in there with two centre backs, or could even be Vitinha, one of the central midfielders, dropping into the back three as well, just to give them that stability. And yeah, they'll look to control the game, get numbers forward, and hopefully leave spaces in behind for the likes of Rashford and Rodgers, Ramsey, etc. to run into.
Because I don't want to drop deep, I noticed, like I don't know the way they pick up the ball. And they're going them in front and utilising long balls.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the kind of unpredictability and versatility that I mentioned before of Luis Enrique. They are quite a well-rounded team, so they've got that pacing behind, they've got the dribbling, they can do different things, which I guess served them well over the two legs against Liverpool. You know, at home in Paris, they were a lot more dominant, had Liverpool pinned back pretty much, whereas they went to Anfield, and obviously Liverpool were on the offensive and the the aggressor and being the pressing team, and Paris had to drop a bit deeper at times and maybe play those longer balls, but yeah, I mean they played well in both games. They were able to adapt their strategy and tactics to the scenarios in both of those games, and like I say, they were well rounded enough to progress and play well in both of those games, different styles.
Doesn't get on sort of like fingers, and they sort of to create a lot of space.
Yeah, it's all about space, isn't it? Football and who can create space for themselves and teammates as well, which is Vitinha especially. He's very, very good at that, reading the space, dropping into the area, dropping into the back three, like I just said, or one of, I think it was the goal that they scored at Anfield. Vitinha, he makes a very good run forward, and because of that, just pulled all the Liverpool defenders and opened up space for the teammates, and they went on and scored. So yeah, it's massively important.
So it's been a great chat. I really enjoyed chatting to both of you. I think, who knows? I mean, let's try and do the double Champions League and FA Cup. Who knows?
Why not? Why not?
It's still on, so it's possible, man.
Dare to dream. Yeah. Well, before I let you guys go, I'll start with you first, Aaron. Can you give me your score prediction? Then I'll ask Earl after.
Oh, look, I've got to be positive. I've got to be optimistic. I'm going to go with a score draw. I'm going to go 1-1. There you go.
I've actually I've put that down as well.
1-1. Okay.
What I think we'll do, I think we'll draw 1-1 our way, and then take it up to Villa Park. Then I think we might just get over the line. That's what I'm going to go with.
I love it.
Yeah, what are you going to go with, Earl? What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go with a 1-0 win in the away leg for Villa. Being positive, like you say, I think we can go there and frustrate them, and I think we might nick a goal. I think it might be an unlikely scorer, a set piece, maybe like a Mings or a Conte header, maybe.
Oh, wow.
But I think we can go there, frustrate them, and then maybe nick something from an Austin McPhee masterclass set piece.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you've got to be positive. That's it.
I love it.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And if you haven't, on the way out, make sure to hit the like button, give it a share, and give us a good review if you're listening via audio. That always helps us as well. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Aaron and Earl, for your time.
Thank you, mate. Been a pleasure.
This episode with Villa forever and up the Villa.